For many airline companies, slow boarding time of flights has been a troublesome problem. Speeding up the boarding process can not only save the passengers time and improve their flight experience, but also save the total flight time for the airline company and effectively reduce the chance of flight delay. Moreover, reducing the total boarding time of a flight can also help the airline company to schedule more flights using the time saved, which generates more profit. For these reasons, our group is designing a system that models the boarding process of the entire economy class of an aircraft, and will use this system modeling to determine the most efficient way of boarding an aircraft. For completeness and accuracy, we will model two different situations: single aisle aircraft and double aisle aircraft. The passenger seats are generated and separated randomly by different boarding order in the initialization. In first in, first out order, each passenger in the queue will enter the next buffer if the next section of aisle is not blocked. The passengers will stop arriving once the queue runs out. To determine the total boarding time, we will collect relevant data for timing during the boarding process and after every passenger is in their seat. We will not consider the boarding time of the first or business class because airlines will almost always board these passengers first, and thus their boarding time will not affect the optimal solution. We will model various boarding methods and compare them to determine the best methods with the minimum time. There are some necessary assumptions. We need to assume each passenger takes exactly one row of space while in the aisle. Although some passengers may not bring any suitcase, in which case they take about half a row of space. In order to simplify the model, we will assume that each passenger brings a suitcase on board. We also need to assume there is no actual buffer space in a single aisle aircraft except the airspace. This is true for most budget airlines, A320 and B737 aircrafts, as the only space for lavatory is in the front or back. All the middle spaces are filled with seats. However, for non-budget carrier or larger single-aisle aircraft, the situations are different. In this study, we will only assess the situation for the budget airlines, as they are the fastest growing and the most reliant on optimization carrier nowadays. After being tested by our model, we have come out several results. To begin with, for the relation between the number of group and the boarding time, we can see that the boarding time increases as the number of group increases. It is faster to board a plane with one group as a whole rather than separate into different groups. In other words, complete randomized boarding is faster than group boarding. That is why Southwest's open seating boarding policy is different than any other airlines. With this policy, each passenger would get a unique position in the queue, and all passengers in the queue will board the plane in that order. Once the passengers are on the plane, they are free to pick any seat they want. Ideally, this will lead to a complete randomized one-group boarding process, which is better than the old process. However, it is also possible that all the passengers will grab the seats that is closest to the front, which is available, thus slow down the process even more. Let passengers be divided into 5 groups in order of their seat number. For example, if there are 25 rows of seats in the aircraft, passengers with seats in the first 5 rows are Group 1. Passengers sit at row 6 to 10 are group 2, row 11 to 15 are group 3, row 16 to 20 are group 4, and row 20 to 25 are group 5. Is the order of group a factor in expected total boarding time? After constructing the 95% confidence interval for different orders about the mean boarding time, we have got the following result that you can see. As a result, there is some reductions on the mean boarding time when boarding at alternating groups due to the most efficient usage of the aisle, but it is still slower than the randomized boarding. So, is there a faster policy to board a plane than complete randomization? To minimize the total boarding time, we want to fill the aisle as much as possible at any time. Since a group of people typically sit in the same row, we need to board the row together. So, a better method is to board the 25 rows of A320 aircraft with the order of this function, which means we need to board the 25th row with the 25 minus X row and the 25 minus 2X row, and so on together, in order to improve the efficiency of the usage of aisle. To see the effect of how different X values reduce the boarding time for the same A320 model, we come out the following result. As a matter of fact, for X equal to 4, 5, or 6, the boarding time is faster than randomized policy for our A320 model. And this is the optimal solution for our simulation model. However, most airlines do not really have the control to practice this boarding policy. Airlines simply can't ensure everyone is waiting at the gate the moment before boarding, so that everyone can line up in a single long queue determined by rows. In reality, many other efforts can go into reducing the boarding speed in order to make more profit for the airline companies. An action practiced by many budget airlines is that the charge for a checked bag is cheaper than that of a carry-on bag. This policy discourages the passenger from bringing bag on board, thus reduce the total boarding time of an aircraft. That is all for our simulation model project. Thank you for watching this video.